Getting it?
No. No, not at all.
Don't worry. He can't do it. It's fine.
Just looks like I can.
You had your teeth white?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
You've not had yours before?
No. Yeah, it's done.
You're going to do yours done for your wedding?
No, yeah, mine.
What?
Yeah,
No, I
mine.
just had with the dental hygienist.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I've not had a...
It doesn't matter if you said
Joe Essex.
that's fine. You can do it. Just like, what the film have you seen with white teeth?
Just to say that I'm really excited for today and for spending the rest of my life. And this is just the beginning.
Claro, no me vayas a sacar.
Que no, ya te ha hecho medio reportaje.
Madre mía. Martín, esto lo hacemos una vez, ¿eh? Y ya está. Vamos a pasar súper bien, pero una vez. Martín, we have a team, eh? And you love me one, unconditional, you say.
¿Quiere que pase por orden? ¿Por orden entonces?
Claro. I'm not very good at introducing speeches, but first up this evening we have his sister Rocío. La primera discurso es Rocío, la hermana de Irene.
¡Bravo, Chío!
That's really good.
He arrancado la última página, que lo sepa.
¡Vamos, Martín! Bueno, lo primero de todo, buenas noches a todos y bienvenido especialmente a todos los que venís de fuera. Me perdonáis, pero es en español, ¿eh? ¿Te viene aquí, papá? Bueno, Inés, desde que me pidiste que diera tu discurso en la boda y decidiéramos saltarnos el protocolo, sucedieron dos cosas. La primera, que papá respiró tranquilo por no tener que hablar en público, y eso que era en español. Y la segunda, que no he parado de darle vueltas, recordando miles de experiencias y anécdotas vividas, pensando en lo difícil que va a ser concretar en unos minutos todo lo que te quiero decir en este momento. Las dos sabemos que llegar aquí no ha sido fácil, ¿verdad? Has tenido que recorrer mucho mundo y nunca mejor dicho, hasta que has encontrado a la persona perfecta para ti, la que te complementa y te hace mejor persona. Has encontrado a tu compañero de viaje en esta gran aventura que es la vida. Aún recuerdo cómo hace 3 años me contaste en otra más de nuestras noches charlando hasta las tantas que habías conocido a alguien. Y aquí me dijiste, y ya sabíamos que las anécdotas y los malos entendidos a costa del idioma las tendríamos aseguradas. Pero desde luego nada nos hacía prever cómo mamá iba a arrancarse con ese spanglish y esas traducciones que al parecer solo ella y Martín entienden, pero que desde luego funcionan a la perfección. ¿Quién le iba a decir a papá y a mamá que aquel peso pesado que llegó hace 34 años iba a ser de sus hijos la que volaría más lejos? Yo creo que fue la insistencia de las mayores, que te amenazaban con mandarte a correr con los primos a la playa verano tras verano, lo que te animó a coger carretera y manta hasta llegar a tu destino. Bueno, más que coger la carretera, el avión, la de veces que te caías del aventino yendo de banquete con Sole y las amenazas que te hacía para que te volvieses a subir corriendo mientras la señora le gritaba: chiquilla, espera, que la niña se te ha caído. Creo que te has inclinado a preferir sin duda el avión como medio de transporte. Siempre has sido muy inquieta y cuando algo se te mete entre ceja y ceja no hay quien te haga cambiar de idea. Esa voluntad tan tenaz y ese continuo querer perseguir tus sueños han permitido que te conviertas en la fantástica mujer que tengo ante mí ahora mismo. La mujer que esta noche es inmensamente feliz por ver a todos sus sueños cumplidos. Recuerda siempre que tu felicidad es sin duda la nuestra. Te decía antes que llegar aquí no ha sido fácil. En el camino se han quedado muchas aventuras, algunos errores, pero sobre todo muchos aciertos, valientes. Lo cierto es que no sabemos muy bien cómo has llegado hasta aquí, porque despistado eres un rato y grande. Que llegases a Viena, a Canadá y a Londres sin incidentes nos pareció un milagro. Sigue. Roma no corrió la misma suerte, pero es complicado cuando te confundes de aeropuerto para coger un vuelo que no existe. Pobre el madrugón y el mal cuerpo que se te quedó. Aún recuerdo cuando nos fuimos tú y yo a Brasil y papá y mamá me pedían a mí que por favor no dejara que absolutamente nadie te convenciese para que le llevases un paquetito a algún familiar o amigo al otro lado del océano. Y es Inés, a nadie le pilla por sorpresa que eres un pelín ingenua, pero tampoco que tienes un corazón que no te cabe en el pecho. Y eso, para todos los que te conocemos, es un auténtico privilegio. Y hoy estás aquí, junto a tu marido, en uno de los días más importantes de vuestra vida. Y sé que hablo por todos, Martín, cuando te digo que para nosotros es un honor que formes parte de nuestra familia.
Bueno, Rocío, venga.
Y hablando de la familia, ay Martín, ¿tú sabes dónde te has metido? Sabemos que Inés ya te había puesto en los antecedentes. Martín, que en España somos muy familiares, te decía, pero que mi familia lo es y mucho. Pero ni con todos los avisos podías haber adivinado dónde te metías. Aquellas primeras navidades fueron la prueba de fuego. Si superabas eso, estabas dentro. Ahora que ya no hay vuelta atrás, Martín, puedes reconocerlo, seguramente te pareció una auténtica casa de locos. Miles de niños correteando por ahí y miles de adultos hablando todos a la vez, a cada cual más fuerte y sin escucharnos apenas. Y llevando hasta 3 conversaciones sin apenas pestañear, sin escucharnos. Y sin contar a tu suegra que intentaba de todas las maneras posibles traducirte todas las bromas. Pero Martín, es imposible, a nosotros nos cuesta, llevamos muchos años de entrenamiento a nuestras espaldas. Y en esta casa de locos, con sus defectos, pero también con sus virtudes, sabes que esperamos que te sientas como en casa. Sabes que acudimos todos en piñas al menor de los problemas y celebramos dando gritos, muchísimos gritos, las alegrías de cualquiera. Y es que en eso nuestros padres han puesto mucha dedicación y ejemplo para enseñarnos que por encima de todo está la familia. Da igual que haya una calle, una carretera o un océano por medio. Para lo bueno y para lo malo somos una piña. Y vete acostumbrando, Martín, que en España además damos 2 besos. Como bien decimos en casa, Martín, compartir es vivir. Sharing is caring. Y si no, que se lo digan a Coque, que un día llegó a casa y cuando preguntó dónde dejaba unas cosas que traía, le dijeron, en el cuarto de Martín. El pobre ya se había quedado hasta sin cuarto de la noche a la mañana. Para envidia del resto de cuñados que nunca han tenido cuarto ni nada que se le parezca.
El último ya.
Inés, y como ya nos hemos saltado el protocolo una vez, tus hermanos no queremos que pase este día sin darte una serie de consejos para ser feliz en tu matrimonio.
¿Bien? Anda.
Es muy
Marta.
corto, ¿eh? A ver.
También vas a llorar, criatura.
No, voy a intentar no llorar.
Very close, very close.
Ok. Debes realizar al menos 3 visitas al año y siempre volver a casa por Navidad. No abuses de los fish and chips. Y ten siempre a mano unos choricitos y jamoncitos para la morriña.
A ver, 2 más. Queda terminalmente prohibido que amenaces con salirte de nuestro grupo de WhatsApp. Cuando mandemos fotos de las reuniones que hacemos, aunque no estés físicamente, siempre estás con nosotros. Siempre tendrás la suerte de utilizar es otra cultura que usamos a menudo, Martín, como punto final de cualquier discusión.
Bueno, me toca a mí. Martín, vamos allá. Ten siempre cama disponible para las visitas. Londres es nuestro destino predilecto. Animaros pronto a traer más sobrinos. Al final mamá podrá tener los nietos rubitos que siempre ha deseado.
Y bueno, Inés, decirte que Martín ha mejorado muchísimo con el español y que expresiones como este no se entera ya no te valen, ¿eh? Tenlo en cuenta.
Bueno, y ya para acabar, por fin, el último más importante, Inés. Nunca cambies. Eres perfecta tal y como eres, con tus cosillas como todos, pero Martín, te llevas a una joya, así que cuídala y déjate cuidar por ella. Enhorabuena, pareja, por el paso que habéis dado y toda la familia os desea de corazón muchísima felicidad en esta nueva aventura que comenzáis. Ahora estamos expectantes por la cena, esperamos como mínimo varias raciones de pulpo, y ya te doy la palabra a mi cuñado nuevo.
Okay, so it's me up next.
Ahora que traduzca, Carlos que
Thank you
traduzca.
to Rokia for those lovely words. I have no idea what she said.
You should know right now. That's fine.
Okay, before I start, as some of you know, I've spent the last 2 years furiously learning Spanish so that when this moment came, I would be able to speak fluently in both languages. So tonight I'm going to literally word for word translate everything I say in English into Spanish.
Really?
Okay, let me just explain that in English first. Hola.
No.
Okay, next up. Okay. Let me try a bit harder. Buenas noches. Primero quiero decir que voy a hablar esta noche en español y inglés. He estado aprendiendo español 2 años más o menos, pero creo que hablo español muy mal. Mal. Espero que me entendáis.
¿Qué?
¿Qué dice? Mi mujer y yo. Momento, españoles. Cuando digo mi mujer y yo, la primera vez, tenéis que decir hooray, porque esta es la primera vez en nuestra vida, ¿entendéis?
Sí.
Vale, otra vez.
Los españoles entendemos.
Mi mujer y yo. Gracias. Queremos decir bienvenidos a todos. Es fantástico que estéis aquí esta noche. Y yo sé que algunos de vosotros habéis hecho un gran esfuerzo para venir. Esto es muy importante para nosotros, así que queremos daros las gracias. Thank you. Okay. How did that sound? Is that convincing? Okay, back to English for a bit now. So, my wife and I. See, Spanish, that's how it should be done.
We did.
Okay, so, yeah, eventually.
Yeah, we did.
Beatbox.
That's gone completely now.
Finito.
No.
See?
Yeah.
Perfecto.
And
He just gave it a knock and it worked again. Okay, so my wife and I. My wife and I would like to say welcome to you all. Some of you have made a huge effort to be here tonight, and that means the absolute world to us. When I first proposed to Inez, almost a year ago, one of our first decisions was whether to get married in Spain or England. So we drew up 2 lists, Marbella versus Welling. It was a pretty close run thing, let me tell you, but Marbella just about edged it, and I hope you all agree that we made the right choice. En español. Creo que no es normal para dar discursos en las bodas españolas, pero hoy es una mezcla de español e inglés, y normalmente hacemos 3 discursos en una boda inglesa. Hemos hecho por la esposa, gracias Rocío y las hermanas también otra vez, y ahora yo, que doy las gracias a la gente que ha hecho que esto es posible, y después Tristan, mi padrino, la mejor hombre. El mejor hombre va a dar un discurso. En este discurso es tradicional mentira. Por favor, no tenéis que creer en ninguna palabra. Van a ser todo mentiras. Oh, I was just explaining that you're next. Don't love it.
All trees.
Okay, so just before I get on to my toast, I would like to just touch upon the reason you may have noticed me limping a bit today. As most of you know, football has played an important part in my life. And as my mum has always said, it's a very dangerous sport. I've had my fair share of injuries, scrapes and bruises down the years, so I guess it was only natural that it would focus in my wedding day. Having joked with a colleague at work when he organised a 5-a-side match that I would probably break my leg if I played 1 week before my wedding, it truly was Sod's Law, or Murphy's Law, that I did end up breaking a bone in my foot. I think Inez has started to calm down now, but to say the air turned blue when I told her what had happened is a bit of an understatement. And as all of you know, her English is brilliant. But even I was surprised at how much it improved in that moment. It was quite a brilliant demonstration of English. Amazing. So well done, Inez.
Yeah, thank you.
But seriously, it did mean that I've been unable to do much of the running around in these last few days in the build-up to the wedding, so all the hard work has had to fall to Inez. So everything you see tonight, please, the credit is all for
¡Viva la
Inez.
novia! ¡Viva!
Antes de hacer unos bridas, quiero explicar por qué estoy corriendo esta noche. He jugando al fútbol toda mi vida y mi madre siempre dice que es un deporte muy peligroso. El viernes pasado, en un partido con mi trabajo, me rompí el pie. Como podéis imaginar, Inés se puso muy contenta y en ese momento ella demostró que su inglés es fantástico. Con palabrotas muy complicados y muy coloridos.
Martyn.
Debido a esto, no he podido hacer nada esta semana y me ha tenido que hacer todo. Ella ha estado genial esta semana, así que por favor todo el crédito hoy es para Inés. Vale. Voy a hacer unos brindis, así que por favor tenéis que tener un vaso lleno. So I'm going to make some toast now, so please make sure your glasses are charged and ready to go. I need mine. I'm going to try and go fast, but please bear with me. Can you hold that while I...
Moving quite quickly there.
Yeah, run. Okay, so firstly, to have some friends. So I was going to separate this into those who are sadly no longer with us and those who didn't buy a flight ticket soon enough and then found out it was quite expensive to fly to Spain. But I decided just to lump them all in together. So, if the name fits, that's good. I found out a couple of weeks ago that today would have been the birthday of my grandmother. The lady responsible for giving me my beautiful olive skin, my suave Mediterranean looks, but sadly I never had the opportunity to meet her. She was also a lady.
Granddad, you tell Grandma.
Anyway, details don't matter. She was also a lady who left her country, like Inez has left her country, and made London her home. So it's a pure coincidence, but hopefully it means this date will bring us good luck for the future. El primer brindis es por los amigos que no pueden estar aquí. To have some friends, salud. El segundo brindis es por los padres de Inés, Pepe y Angel. Tengo más, por favor. Desde el primer día que conocí a Inés, ella siempre ha dicho que habéis sido una familia fantástica y esto es verdad. Habéis sido perfectos conmigo, habéis hecho que me sienta como en casa y me siento feliz cuando estoy con vosotros. Espero que cuando empezamos nuestra familia pueda ser parecida a la vuestra. So the second toast is to the parents of Inez, Pepper and Angel. They've always made me feel so welcome to their family, and also they have a fantastic house right on the beach in Marbella. So. Cheers! To Pepper and Angel, salud.
Salud.
So the next toast is to my parents. So they're responsible for the great man that is standing before you this evening. I don't mean Tris. I had a wonderful childhood, being the youngest of three. I was spoiled rotten throughout. For my dad, I guess my lasting memory is the endless hours spent driving around London to either train or play football. I always thought that I was very close to making it as a top goalkeeper. If only I was a little bit taller. And if only I could deal with crosses a bit better, and if only I could kick a bit better, and probably save a few more shots. But apart from that, I was very close. But seriously, I hope I gave him a few proud moments along the way, and that made all that effort worthwhile. I did notice him telling a few tales on my stag do to some of my friends, so I think... To Jackie, who, despite having a tendency to turn lobster red, was always there for us in our family holidays in the sun when we were growing up. And here she is again in Spain, so thank you, Jackie. And to my mum, well, you know, for being my mum really. But what I have learned now we've got older and wiser is that she always encouraged us to do what we wanted to do as we grew up. To make our own decisions and to stand by them. She's never judged any of us and loves us all unconditionally no matter what life has thrown at us. That is something I admire and I hope that we can give to our children. Este brindis es por mis padres. To Dad and Jackie and my mum, salud. Salud! Más. Perdón. Mucho más. El próximo brindis es por los pajes y damas. Creo que han estado fenomenal hoy. Cuando planeamos la boda, quisimos implicar a todos los niños porque son muy importantes en nuestras vidas. Y hoy estamos disfrutando de todos ellos en todas partes, toda la día. So this toast is for the Flower Girls and Page Boys, who've done an amazing job of being everywhere all of the time in the church. I'm sure they entertained you all while we were sitting. So to the Page Boys and Flower Girls, salud.
Another glass,
I'm going past there. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to speed this up a bit. Chris is really itching to get onto his speech. So next up is my groomsmen, Chris, Ben and Jorge. All three of you have played a very important part in my life, and it's been an honour to have you all involved in the planning and the execution of today. From my brilliant stag do back in London to calming my nerves this morning and then making sure that everyone's in the right place this evening, they've been fantastic. Un brindis por los padrinos de boda. To Ben, Chris y Jorge, salud.
Salud. Salud.
El penúltimo brindis es por Rocío, la hermana de Inés. Sin ella, la planificación de hoy hubiera sido mucho más difícil. Toda la familia ha estado fantástica y han ayudado en todo, pero ella ha ayudado muchísimo a Inés desde el principio. Ha aclarado ideas y aportado opiniones. Las tarjetas de save the date, las invitaciones, los pantalones cortos de los niños, el tema de popo que está en todas partes y mucho, mucho más. Gracias, Sofía. So the penultimate test is for Rocío. Inez's sister, who's helped design and plan lots that you see in today. So to Rocío, salud. Y el último brindis, and the last toast, is for my wife. It's brought me to her, Inez. The most fantastic woman, la mujer más fantástica del mundo in the world. She has made me complete, ella me ha completado, and she is never out of my mind. Nunca está fuera de mi mente, except when I'm playing football. Excepto cuando estoy jugando al fútbol. Soy el hombre más feliz del mundo. I'm the happiest man alive today, and I cannot wait to start. Y tengo muchísimas ganas de empezar el próximo capítulo, the next chapter, con ella, with her. A mi maravillosa mujer, to my beautiful wife, salud. And next up, the headline act. Please keep your glasses going for Chris.
Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say, buenos tardes, damas y caballeros. Firstly, welcome to the wedding of Martin and Inez. Thank you all for coming to this special event, which I know you've all travelled from far and wide to be present at here tonight. On behalf of the Flower Girls, Page Boys and Ushers, I'd like to thank Martin and Inez for asking us to be involved in their special day.
That's great, thank you so much.
I know they have both put a tremendous amount of effort into the planning and organising of this wedding. Well, Inez has. And I can only hope that apart from this speech, everything else has exceeded their expectations. So, echoing Martin, let's start with some much deserved thanks. Firstly, I think we can all agree that the Flower Girls and Page Boys did a great job in the church today. Let's hear it, come on. The ushers, Ben and Jorge, you managed to stay sober until now. And ladies and gentlemen, having been at the church, I think we can all agree that they made their duties look effortless today. Next for Inez, you look absolutely amazing today. A round of applause for the bride, please. I think at this point we should also pay the groom a compliment congratulates him on getting in such fantastic shape for the big day. With dedication, hard work, the help of his personal trainer Tony and nutritionist Ron Woodruff, Mart has lost about 12 stone to get himself into tremendous shape for the big day. 12 stone in kilos is a lot, yeah, it's a lot. An achievement that can't be underestimated. A few months ago, Martyn even ran a marathon with his personal trainer to raise money for breast cancer research. Mark, can you remember how much you raised?
Me personally, it was about
£1,500 for breast cancer research.
Thank you to all those sponsors.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend. But through the wonders of modern technology, I was able to track Martyn on my PC in real time as he ran around the course. Whatever training methods Mart had been using seemed to produce phenomenal results. At some points along the route, he seemed to be running at over 40 miles an hour. As I said, they're incredible stuff. So, let's talk about Martyn. I've known Martyn for coming up to 25 years now. We first met aged 11 at Bexley Grammar School. We struck up a close bond, mainly over football, and hit 80s poodle hair rockers Bon Jovi. Attending our first of many Bon Jovi gigs together at the Milton Keynes Bowl when we were just 15.
Hang on.
Inspired by this love of 80s hard rock, we soon formed a musical duo of our own called Stick No Bill, and could often be heard singing the sweet harmonies of Bon Jovi's 1986 mega hit Living on a Prayer around school. To this day, the only song Martyn knows all the words to. It was during this Bon Jovi phase that Martyn decided it would be a good idea to get his ear pierced.
It's all coming out.
As our school was run on strict traditional lines, the wearing of a golden earring for boys was strictly forbidden. Running to the beat of his own drum, as he still does these days, Mart ignored this rule and strolled confidently into school with his new golden stud. As I'm sure you can imagine, he looked cool, so very cool. Unfortunately, our form teacher, Mr. Gomford, spotted the offending item of jewellery immediately and informed Martyn in no uncertain terms that studs were not allowed at this school. Mart replied, "Well, sir, that can't be the case. I'm here after all." The other great joy we had in our teenage years was playing football. We turned out for the school side every Saturday and also for many Sunday league teams. Not being quite good enough to play on pitch, Martyn instead dedicated himself to the art of goalkeeping from a young age, something he excelled at, being both big and mouthy. His dad Bob would always stand behind the goal every match, giving instructions, when to come for crosses, when to throw, when to kick. Something I believe he still does for old Eastbournians to this day. Though our less talented friends toiled away in the Bexley C League for the duration of their careers, Mart and I were regular A-listers in our teams, turning out for Parkmere for many seasons, until I decided to give it up and Mart went on to better things in the pro leagues. It's genuinely no exaggeration to say that even now, when you ask people, many of whom are here, who was the best goalkeeper they ever played with, to a man, they say Martyn. He wasn't just good, he really was good.
Thank you. So true.
Mart went on to play at Charlton Athletics Academy for a few years, before being offered a YTS contract at Stevenage Borough. Always a highly dedicated student, Mart turned down this opportunity and left Bexley Grammar to study AS levels at our local rivals, Chislehurst and Sidcup Grammar School, which is where he met Ben. We lost touch for a few years at this point, but reunited in our 20s when one day, out of the blue, Mark turned up at my parents' house looking for me, and we soon got back into the swing of things. Whilst our teens had been about football and music, in our 20s we discovered a new passion, the game of legends, the sport of darts. Despite being a big man, and subsequently it seemed bigger the more darts we played, Mark was often hampered by an inability to actually throw a dart the 7'9¼ inches required to hit the board. Opponents would stare dumbfounded as the dart left his hand and sailed limply into the mat before it hit the ball. What was this guy's game, they were asking themselves? Was he taunting them? So good he could afford to throw away a dart without even touching the board? The answer was no. Despite the handicap, he didn't stop Martyn competing in a number of pub teams around Bexley Heath. And though by some way the worst darts player anyone had ever seen, he persevered and won the respect of his teammates. His regular place in the starting lineup was of course unconnected to the fact that he was the only one who drove and would give everyone a lift home afterwards. Mark has enjoyed a varied work career throughout the years, starting as a paper boy at the local newsagents at Shoulder-Mutton Green, but the owner could never work out why one copy of the Sunday Sport was missing every week. He then graduated onto pizza delivery and bar work at the end of his teenage years. As young men doing very bad jobs, we only ever worked together once, very briefly at a local restaurant. I was already working there behind the bar, putting a good word for my mate Martin, who despite having no experience was keen and would be a fine employee if they gave him the chance, I told the manager. An hour into his first shift behind the restaurant bar, Martin informed the manager he thought he deserved a break. Mistaking the manager's shocked silence as agreement, he took off his apron, poured himself a pint, walked around the bar and lit up a well-deserved smoke, remarking to the numerous thirsty customers at the bar with a wink, "Don't worry chaps, I'll be back with you in 5. He finished the shift but was surprisingly told afterwards that there'd been a mistake, and in fact they didn't need to take anyone else on at this current time. For some years afterwards, Mark worked in retail, managing the mother care store in Bexley Heath, Broadway. Then an opportunity arose to work with Ben in the city, which he grabbed gladly with both hands. Starting again from scratch at the bottom wasn't easy in his late 20s, but through a combination of hard work and a quick mind, Mark rose through the ranks to the position he now holds, heading up the trading floor's Danish operations. Then 3 years ago, luckily, Marty met Inez. After the first date, Mark was smitten and was soon raving to his friends about the wonderful Spanish woman he had met. This was 3 years ago now, and Mark is the happiest I've ever known him to be, and that's all thanks to Inez. You truly bring out the best of him. When writing this speech and trying to think for a long time about the big moments we shared over the years, it dawned on me that it's not really all about that. They make nice stories to tell, but that's all. Really, it's the small things that count. The things which no one else would find interesting or funny between two people, but the things which make a long-lasting friendship. The insignificant use of words or looks, built up over a number of years, that only a good friend intuitively understands, which you both find such pleasure in, or makes it all worthwhile. And whilst there's no room here to talk about those small moments, which vanish as soon as they arrive, being friends with Martin over the years has given me so many of them. So, here I am, 25 years after we first met, as the best man at Martin's wedding. And what can I tell you about him from knowing him from that long?
Don't ruin it, don't ruin it.
I can tell you, he's a generous, loyal, hard-working guy, and his main focus will always be on the happiness of Inez and their family. Angel and Pepper, you couldn't ask for a better son-in-law. Yeah, that's right. However, despite all those fine qualities, he's still never been good enough to play out on pitch. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glasses and join me in a toast, which I have put through Google Translate this afternoon. So I'll do Spanish first and then English afterwards. You'll have to forgive my pronunciation. Damas y caballeros, brindemos por la felicidad y una larga vida juntos de Inés y Martyn. Ladies and gentlemen, a toast to happiness and a long life together for Inés and Martyn. To Martyn and Inés. That's it.
Thanks everybody, let's eat and drink and be merry.
Yeah, well done.
Inés, la temperatura ideal. Vamos, nos ha regalado un día entero. Después de los 43 en Sevilla, genial. ¡Mua!
Besitos. Mantita, pero quítate la toalla.